can say this about season 4. It is going to be so worth the wait.
Nowhere, actually.
A wrecking machine. I'll take it.
I'm still figuring out my own style, Mark, actually.
It was great.
It took 2 minutes and I had to answer, yeah, go for it.
Are you sure you're not interested? I was like, don't ask me again. I can't refuse it twice.
In Holland, in one country.
Here are these two.
She got me so deep and underwater, and I drank it. That's not good.
You'll try chocolate from South Africa to Australia to England. It will taste so different.
So it's been really amazing that it's been with you after 10 long years.
The first title we were messing around with, we were going to call it Lockdown. Yeah. And then after a while, we actually kind of realised, God, this is dragging on a lot longer than what we thought it was going to be.
I didn't want to give people a reminder.
Our bass player has a band. We were like, let's go on the road, man. But and then it just came to a screeching halt.
We had to work on like how I was biting the carrot. Like I had to do it very purposefully, you know? You didn't want a weak bite, but you didn't want a bite that was too strong.
Someone jumps the stage and one of our techs just body slams him to the ground and you can see me kick him.
I guess I was too distracted. I was having too much fun. Never a bad thing.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Jonna. Hello.
Hello, Mark.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I am Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington, in the United States of America. And thank you so much for joining me on this 6th of May, 2021. And a few housekeeping details before we get to my interview. I do have more interviews coming up, which includes tomorrow at noon Pacific time here on the west coast of the United States. I have Talisa Thurston coming. And Talitha is a part of Little Miss Nasty, the dance troupe that's based out of Los Angeles, and they have residencies in other parts of California and Las Vegas, and they've been on tour with a few bands, and so she's a professional dancer and has danced with many different promotions and troupes, so I'm going to be really looking forward to talking with her tomorrow. And then on Saturday, I have False Memories from Italy joining me, also at noon Pacific time. Their new album comes out tomorrow on Friday the 7th, so the very next day we're going to talk about it with Gianluca and Rosella, who's the bassist and the singer respectively. And then on Monday, I have an interview, and on Tuesday, I have one. It looks like I might have one on Wednesday. So if you'd like to know more details, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information I migrate over to Facebook. But there's definitely things that are exclusive to Instagram because I find it to be a more content-oriented platform than some of the other ones that get a little too drama involved. And so that's all coming up, and I have things outside of the live streams with the Milwaukee Film Festival starting today, so I'm a credentialed reviewer for that, so I'm going to be immersed in the world of film tonight and for the next, I think 14 days or something, and lots of other cool things coming up. But if you are so inclined and you're in a position that you'd like to help out with what I do, there is a PayPal me link that's always in the description of every YouTube live stream that I do, and I can actually put the link here so you can see it. Looks like this, and any information on my guests is also down in that description. So if you really like what you're seeing and want to see more of it, if you could donate any kind of tip or dollar amount to anything that you would like to do, it's always greatly appreciated, but certainly not required, just something that's an option for those that want to do it. And also, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel, that is greatly appreciated if you like this video. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that's always great as well. I'm getting closer and closer to the numbers that I'm looking for on YouTube. So that's always, again, it's a help, and it helps that algorithm out since it's such a strange beast to begin with. Okay, my guest today is an extraordinary drummer from Brazil. Her new band, Crypta, will be releasing their album, Echoes of the Soul, on June 11th on Napalm Records. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Luana Dametto. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me. Good night.
Yes, thank you for coming on and having the time to talk to me this evening down there. This is really fun for me. I'm a huge metalhead and a fan of your work, so I can't wait to talk to you about everything that you're up to.
Thanks.
Yeah, so how are things, just before we get into Crypta and your drumming and everything, how are things in the state of Brazil right now in terms of like COVID and all that?
Not going well. In Brazil, we are going really slow with the vaccines. There are some places that some states of Brazil that are getting like vaccines faster. Like my state is going faster than some others, and some are just really bad, not getting. So yeah, like now we are just vaccinating really, really old people, just the first dose. And so for me, like that, I'm waiting for the vaccine so I can go on and tour again, you know. And since I'm young, like yeah, I don't think I'm even gonna get the vaccine this year, maybe next year or so. So I think it will take a while till we come back to normal in Brazil. Even though the world will be vaccine and so on before us, we won't. So I think we probably won't be able to tour because of our passports without the vaccine and stuff like that.
Oh, wow, that sucks. And I've heard some similar things depending on where some of my guests are located, that the rollout's been very, very slow in some of their countries. And they're kind of like, they're seeing stuff on the news, like say about America, and saying, oh, they have excess vaccine. And there's places where they can't even like give it away to people for appointments, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfortunate to hear that in Brazil, that it's taking a lot longer than we'd wish it would.
Yeah, it's bad, especially for the musicians. I mean, if we could go back to tour when everyone else is coming back and touring again, it would be awesome. But it's not the reality for us. I think Brazilians will take much longer to tour again.
Okay, well, hopefully it gets to a point. Yeah, maybe if it is, early 2022 when Crypta's out there touring, or maybe it's even at the end of 2021. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But in the meantime, it's got to be exciting that the album's getting closer and closer to coming out. You're roughly a month away now.
Yes, and the lucky thing for us, which wasn't a good thing at the beginning, that we were taking so long to like give a release date. But what is nice about this now is that because we were probably not gonna tour this year and maybe next year even, it's nice that the album is coming like kind of late in June only, because then when we start touring, the album is not so old. It's like we didn't pass the release date that much to start touring with this album.
Okay, yeah, and that's a good point, that it's pushing further into 2021 in terms of being released, instead of like if it was, I don't know, released in January or something. Then it would have been like, well, how can we promote this? We can't get out on the road yet. So
yeah.
Okay, and that kind of, so if you could bring me up to speed, when was the album? Was it recorded during 2020 during the pandemic, or what kind of details can you tell me?
It was recorded this year. We did it in February, if I'm not wrong. January or February. Now I don't even remember when we recorded the album, but it was January or February. And then we got in a house together in São Paulo. We all needed to travel because we all live very far away from each other. And yeah, there we stayed, recorded, mixed, mastered, saw about the cover art details and everything. And then from there to now, recorded the music video and all the videos that are going to be released still. And well, we took the opportunity that we were together to like do everything that we could for the rest of the year, because we knew that with this COVID thing, it wouldn't be easy to get together again, and for the budget too. But yeah, then from there to now, we are just releasing what was done and scheduling everything in its place.
That's very smart. I know some other guests that did the same thing. It's like, well, if we have an opportunity to get together in person, then we better make the most of this and just stockpile a bunch of stuff, because we don't know when we're going to get back together again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, especially because our guitarist lives in Europe, so it's away here.
That is true. And so I know that, well, we'll kind of talk about this now, I guess. So the first music video for From the Ashes came out, and then there was also a drum playthrough. I know there's a guitar playthrough as well. But let's just talk strictly about the music video itself, and then we'll talk about the drum playthrough next. Was that the first song that you guys as a band wanted to put out? Because it sounds like you have a couple other videos that you also have in the can.
Yeah, we have some other videos. I can't really tell now if it's a like music video or not, but we have more videos to come out. But yeah, that was the song from the entire album that we thought that it would be the nicest to put out in the beginning. But I see that a lot of people are like expecting that the rest will be similar, or like there are some people that don't expect that it will be similar to that. And the thing I can say about it is that the single is nice and is what we chose to put out, but the album is so like there's ups and downs. Like it's so diverse. Like this song is more like there's a lot of black metal feeling to it, and it's more melodic, and you know there's some epic solos and stuff. And there's songs that are like straight slow and straight death metal, really old school vibes. And there's some others that are more melodic, like this one, and some that are more technical, to the technical side, and not really just punchy and groovy and slow. So it's gonna be really diverse. I think that people can't really have an idea of how the rest is gonna be just by the single, because we did something so diverse that it doesn't translate to everything. The single doesn't translate to the rest of the album.
Okay, that's good to know that there's some diversity on the album when it comes out. So people that are expecting like nothing but like 10 songs of, you know, something like From the Ashes, it's like, well, no, it's not. You have that, plus you have some very different things on there. So for me personally, I love that kind of thing when there's variety on a release. So now I'm looking even more forward to it.
Yeah, cool. We didn't do it on purpose. Like we were writing like slowly and just coming up with ideas and mixing all the ideas. And then when we finished, we just realized that, okay, if we needed to tag all the entire thing with one tag, maybe it wouldn't work, because, you know, something, you know, like this is melodic death, this is like black death, this is just death, this is more like American kind of death. So yeah, it wasn't on purpose, but it's cool.
Okay, well, and for yourself, strictly for yourself, do you have a preference on what type of, you just mentioned different, you know, styles of metal that's on this record. Do you have a specific style that you like? Like, do you like strictly death, or do you like it more of a black death hybrid, or do you like all of those styles?
I like all of those. I specifically, oh, what a tricky word. Like melodic solos. I think they give like an epic kind of vibe to the song, and it's like a break from the rest of the things that are going on. But if I had to choose like my specific style, my personal view on death metal, I would absolutely pick Swedish death metal. It's my favorite at all times. I'm using an Interment hoodie, so it's Swedish death metal all day long. Yeah, how can I say? We didn't go Swedish in this album, but there is some drum lines that are like that can be related to Swedish death metal that you will hear a lot on Dismember and stuff like that.
Okay, well that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. That you like personally the Swedish death metal side of things, but you also like some of the other you know, the other styles of metal, of course. And then let's kind of talk about your drum playthrough, because I know it's had a lot of views, and a lot of people are just like, holy shit. For people that aren't familiar with your drumming, they're like, damn. And for people like me that are already familiar with your drum, it's kind of like, you know, where you been? It's like, so when did you record that during the same time when you did the band music videos, or is that something separate that you did?
Yes, it was like we recorded and mixed and mastered everything, and then I recorded first, because, well, the drums are always first, and then I needed to wait the entire month, like doing other stuff, but not playing at all, because I had recorded it already, and we didn't have time to rehearse and stuff like that. So then in the end of that month, I recorded a playthrough. I was a little stiff. like I think people didn't comment this. I didn't see any comments about this. But as like, I always think that the artist has a harsher view on its own things. But yeah, I was definitely stiffer than I would like to, because I recorded in the end of the month and stuff. But it was so nice. The feedback was so nice. We uploaded it, and I was expecting people to comment, you know, more things that I realized while watching, like, oh, this is not so tight like it was if I was playing with the mics on and stuff, or I'm looking a little stiff because I wasn't practicing before and stuff. But people just straight liked it. Most people just really liked it. I'm really impressed by the feedback. I wasn't waiting all of that from the first playthrough. I mean, I hope to do better in the next ones. So I'm really glad for the feedback.
Yeah, again, I thought it. I don't think most people could tell that you were stiff. So, like you said, you know, artists are their worst enemies, their worst critics. So that makes sense. And if anything, I know some of the comments I saw, which I agreed with, is like, look how relaxed she is when she's playing, which you're supposed to be as a drummer, you know, in any style of drumming. And yeah, you look like you're just kind of going a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's my lack of emotions. People are just always like, oh, she's so calm. It's just mainly because I don't feel calm when I'm playing, and I feel like I'm doing lots of effort, and you know, some parts are like, oh, this is harder, and some parts are really like, oh, this is fine, it's okay. But because I don't have lots of facial expressions while playing, a lot of people take from this that I'm just really, really relaxed at all times, which is good. I mean, it's awesome. I hope people keep thinking that I'm really relaxed while I'm playing and do not realize when I'm playing the difficult parts of the song.
Yeah, you fooled them.
Yeah, I fooled them. Yes, I hope to keep doing it.
Oh, so let's kind of talk about that song in particular, since we're talking about the playthrough. When you guys were getting ready to, you know, write the material and that song in particular, how do you come up with your drum parts? Like, what are you thinking? What can you kind of walk us through the process, strictly from the drummer's point of view?
For the writing for the entire band, we do like very mixed, you know, like I send riffs too. We all send riffs, and I just write riffs with my mouth. I just send like audios, singing the things, and the girls just kind of pick that and turn into a real riff. And then when the song is ready and it's fine for me to put the drum lines, I don't have any specific methods actually. I just like put the song, take a few listen to it. Yeah, well, and then then I try to put something that matches really. Like I go with the vibe of the song. If it sounds like really fast, and I can put some blast beats or some double bass, and some, if it gives me the space for creating something more difficult, I will probably take that space to put some a drum line that is more like with fills and double bass and blast beats and all kind of mixed and sounds trickier. And if it's just really simple, you know, I'm going for simple too, so it sounds really brutal. So I'm not really thinking of making it difficult all the time, because I think it gets boring to the listener. I think there's gotta be like simple parts and things that people can just groove with the band and headbang and not really pay attention at all times, because there's too much ghost notes or too much details happening at all times. But I'm also not going for all the obvious immediately. I'm trying to like, okay, if the guitarist gave me this space in the song where I see that I can fit lots of different things in this part of the song, I'm gonna work harder. So I usually take like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to put a drum line depending on the song. And I take most of the time to make the tricky parts, and the ones that are just like more straightforward and that I feel like need to be straightforward to match with the vibe of the song, is just much easier. And that's all really. I record with my EAD10 here, that it's like one mic for the entire kit, and send the demos to them. And sometimes they have feedbacks like, this part, you know, when I made this part, I imagined something faster. or I think that part sounds it's breaking too much the vibe and stuff like that. So I end up changing for something that the majority likes in a sense. And yeah, that's basically it. But it's not technical at all. I don't write anything. I don't plan anything. It's really by ear most part.
Okay, well, and it sounds good that so when you're listening to a new song that you're trying to figure out, okay, I want to put some things here, but at the same time, I don't want to be too busy because then it just kind of loses everybody. And then if it's something where it needs to be like that kind of sludging, pounding, heavy thing, then I need to kind of lay back and kind of get a little bit more simple with what I'm doing to add to that extra emphasis of just making it freaking heavy. Yeah. Based on, I mean, some of the things so far, it sounds like it's definitely working. So, I mean, I can only imagine what the rest of the album is going to be like when it comes out. And just for my own knowledge and people that are watching this now or later, are you self-taught as a drummer, or did you take lessons, or both?
By the way, thanks for the comment. I do hope people like it. No, actually, when I started, I had a teacher here. He played rock, just rock. Pop rock and stuff like that. So I learned from the very basic thing, and then when I felt like I was wanting to play something harder, I changed the teacher, and then I got another one, and I was constantly changing. Like when I felt like I was more interested in doing something different from what I was studying, I just changed. And there was a big period of time when I was playing with Nervosa that I did not have had classes or a teacher or anything, because we were touring so much. And during that period, I got really good at the things that I was playing every night, as expected, like the blast beats that I was doing every night. I was getting faster at that and stuff. But at the same time, because I was playing just that, I was also not getting forward with playing new rhythms and adding new things to the songs. So now during the pandemic and stuff, pandemic sucks because we can't tour and can't do lots of stuff that we wanted with the band. But at the same time, I took the time to practice again and practice things that I wanted to do, but I wasn't good enough to be able to go to a studio and record them, because in my opinion, you have to be very, very precise with the things that you want to record. You can play, but if you're not precise, you can't go to the studio with that, because studio times it's like it's the proof that you really learn what you're playing. So yeah, I've been studying to get better, and now getting classes again. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and you make a really good point that if you're going to go into the studio, you need to have your stuff together, because you've got X amount of time. There's dollars involved, and then two, it's gonna showcase everything every hole you have in your playing. So and I know that just from the little bit of recording I've ever done in the past, where I went in there, I think I got that part worked out pretty good, and then you go record and you listen to it back, you're like, oh geez.
Yeah, and especially because in this album with Crypta, it was always my dream to record an album without any samplers, anything, like just the drums that I played and working with that and just that and nothing else, just like the recordings that I've made and nothing else. But it didn't fit very well with Nervosa before. It was what I felt. We needed more like a modern sound for the drums with Nervosa to match with the guitars and everything. So we ended up using for example, some samplers to add to my sound and sound more modern and forward. And with Crypta, I didn't use any of that. It was just pure, what I recorded is what people hear in the album, even the sound, there's no changes. So to have that in mind when you go to record, knowing that you're paying for the time that you're there, and that if you fuck it up, people are gonna listen to it, because you're not gonna have editing or samplers or triggers or anything like that to make it sound more even, for example. Then you need to get your shit together to record. That's why I put the things that I practiced at home that I got better in the album, but at the same time I didn't go too crazy. Like didn't want to step too out of my limit zone to not fuck it up right when I needed to record. And I think that's it.
Okay, well, yeah, and you said that very well, and I think that's interesting too, and that's probably why I think a lot of fans are going to be looking forward to the album, that they're going to hear like an old school approach to the different types of metal that's going to be on that record. Just like you said, that everything we're going to hear from you drum-wise is what you practiced and rehearsed and got yourself ready for. So you went in the studio, you banged it out, and that they didn't do any kind of enhancements to it. So it's going to have that old school feel, which it does. It's even like with From the Ashes, it's got that vibe to it. And I love that fact, because that means that you're really working hard as musicians to get in there and do it right and not try to slick it up. And it also means that eventually when you play live, it's going to sound tremendous, because it's basically what we heard from the studio version then.
Yeah, it's more like a personal preference. Of course, I have no problems with modern sounding drums or anything like that. I used to sound exactly like this. I always sounded exactly like this. This is the first time that I do it differently, but it's totally by taste. It's just like I wanted it like that this time. Not that people that are more modern sounding are not playing as much. I don't think that is true at all. But just for the way it sounds, it's my personal preference. And then I worked harder to be able to make this idea that I had of trying to not edit anything or stuff like that work properly. Like, for example, we recorded that demo that we posted before the single and stuff. And I went to a studio just to record that track, but it was very early on, and I was still figuring out how to play certain things that are in the song and stuff. And I had the worst time of my life trying to record that demo. It was horrible. I could barely. And now when I recorded the album, that was just super easy. That song now is one of the easiest songs. Like, it's fine. I mean, it's not very fast or anything, so it's fine. But when I recorded just that song, that was the time that I was learning how to do some of that stuff. It was awful. So yeah, it's all a matter of practicing that one thing till you're comfortable to record.
Yeah, and there you go for all the aspiring musicians out there. It's like everyone, doesn't matter what level of professional you are, that you still have to work at things and get it to where you want it to be, and it doesn't come easy. You know, it requires work and practice and that type of thing. And I'm kind of curious. So how often do you practice your drums? Is it every day or when you have time, or?
I try 1 hour per day, not every day, because sometimes I'm just tired or I have something else to do, and then I end up not playing. But almost every day, 1 hour. I can't play much further than this because I live in an apartment, so everyone listens to me when I'm playing. It's like a live drum solo every day. So yeah, I try 1 hour, and sometimes 1 hour and a half if my neighbors are looking fine.
I know what you mean in terms of because I have neighbors where I live too, so I have to be kind of mindful and respectful that my amplifier doesn't get too loud and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel bad for them. I understand it's terrible because it's not their thing and they just have to listen to it. But I also try to have a limit so they know that it's from this to this maximum, and I won't be bothering anyone. It's always the same time at the day, and it's always the same amount, so they know that it's not more than that. So they are not complaining or anything, because I think they got used that, like, oh, at that time the noises are gonna start. But I can still watch my what's the name of that in English? My TV drama. I can still watch my TV drama because she will stop playing before that.
Well, and that's what it comes down to, just being respectful of your neighbors. So if they know that you start at this time, you end at this time, it's not like you're going to be playing for 5 hours at midnight or something when they're trying to sleep. It's like, no, and I take the same approach. I don't play past 9 p.m. and they know that, and I don't play that often either. I'm not a professional musician, so it's just every now and then I'll noodle around and I look at the volume knob, make sure it's not too loud and that kind of thing. And I also look out in my parking lot to see if there's cars and my neighbors are home. And kind of balance it from there. But and so Luana, what got you into the metal scene overall? So what was like the first bands that you got into?
I don't remember exactly, but when I started, because my family doesn't listen to metal or rock or anything, and there's not many people in the city that likes it either, because I live in a small city. I think since I remember from MTV, like at the time I was watching, there was still music videos going on MTV. It was the end of the music videos on MTV when I started listening to metal, but I still got something from there. I remember the new metal bands were really popular, like Slipknot, Mudvayne, and Korn, and it was what was popular in metal. So I started from there. My first metal bands were all new metal. Korn, Slipknot, and Mudvayne were there. And there was some metalcore bands too, like Bullet for My Valentine, which is something like nowadays it's not my preference. But of course, when you're starting, if that's the only thing you see that is metal, you probably think that it's the heaviest thing ever. Which is like I said, today is not my preference because I went through all the metal genres, but there are still bands that I like. For example, Slipknot's still one of my favorite bands nowadays. Still like Mudvayne and Korn and stuff like that.
Okay, and are there certain, like you mentioned, that you love, the Swedish death metal and some of the other genres? Are there certain bands that you're a fan of then, of those other genres of metal?
Oh yes, I think for each genre, yeah. For each of them, I have a favorite band probably. For Swedish death metal, there are so many. Like Interment is one of my favorite. Dismember, In Solitude, Desultori, Necrovation, Ensnared. There's a huge list. So yeah, for each style, there's probably a favorite band.
Okay, and so for like those Swedish death metal bands that you just mentioned, how did you come to discover them? Was that through the internet? Was that when you were on tour, or a little bit of both?
All through internet, because when I started to the point that I got into almost all kinds of metal, I was not playing with any bands or touring or anything, so I was just at home, and there's not many people here to like hang out or tell you what bands to listen to. Like I didn't have many friends to do this for me. So it was all internet, from Slipknot, for example, and listen to Bullet for My Valentine. You find another band that sounds similar, and you go to that, and you go to that, and from the recommendations on YouTube or this and that, you end up going to other bands and finding out that, for example, this sounds really different. I don't think it's the same style. Then you get into another style. And another style, and in that way I had Last FM at the time when I was 16, and from there I found out like a huge amount of things that I didn't know about, because they had all the tags and stuff like that, so I could read the style and the band, but it was internet.
Okay, yeah, I know, and I'm sure a lot of people know exactly what you're talking about, that you go down the rabbit hole of YouTube, that you go from one thing to another, and then like 3 hours later, you're watching something like, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's very cool, because you discover new genres of music, and it doesn't even have to be metal, just something else that's pretty cool. It could be a cool drummer that you didn't know about, and I've discovered all kinds of bands that way. And even people that do like cover versions of things. There's a lot of talented people around the world that now have a platform via YouTube that they can put their stuff up and go, dang, look at that. And I've interviewed some of those people too. It's just really cool that way. And I'm curious with your drumming, and it sounds like, especially since you didn't necessarily come from metal. You were listening to it, like you said, with new metal and that kind of thing, and some of the other types of metal, and then got into what you're doing now. Do you ever drum to non-metals, like a non-metal style? Do you ever do like rock or pop or jazz or anything like that with your drum kit?
I never did it. I don't know how to play anything else than metal. I don't even play metal to a point that I would like to. But yeah, that I can only play the things that you listen in Crypta, and that's basically it. I would like to have an indie rock band or something, because I really like indie and like bands, like also electronic bands, something like MGMT and stuff like that. But I don't know how to play this yet. I would need to practice, and most important, I would need to find people here that would like to do this, which is very tricky because there's barely anyone playing in the city. So yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe down the road that'll happen for you as a side project or something. And I think, and you probably know this already, it sounds based on talking to you, that as a musician, no one's ever, you're never done learning, and you'll find another style that you want to kind of pick something up from, incorporate it into yourself. I'm thinking back to even when Neil Peart was still with us, that, he took a break and studied with a jazz master and wanted to learn how to play jazz. And it's like, this guy is like one of the best drummers in the entire world, and he's like, I still want to do something more with my drumming. You keep expanding and learning from it. So I have a feeling that you're going to be going down the exact same path that every other musician does, that they have this band and this project and this other thing that they do, because you love all kinds of different things.
I hope so. I really hope so. I really hope I get some side projects just for the fun. It's nice.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what kind of advice would you give for like a young aspiring drummer, somebody out there that's watching this that wants to buy a kit or just got one and doesn't even know like the basic rudiments yet? What would you tell them?
I think I would tell them to play for the fun and for the passion about the music that they're doing and the instrument, rather than playing with the mindset that I want to become the best, or I want to be able to play at this speed, or just really going to the drum kit and feeling like you're being forced to be there because you need to be there, otherwise you're not gonna get to your goal. Of course, you have to have discipline to play an instrument and get better. You need to know that you need to go and practice more than it would be fun. But at the same time, if during all the period that you're there, you feel like you're being forced to stay there and that it's just not enjoyable, then yeah, I would recommend doing something else or playing another instrument maybe. Because if you don't have that passion for playing the music that you're playing, it's just not worth it. It doesn't matter if you're playing super simple stuff, super basic drum lines, and it doesn't matter your level of drumming or what kind of style you like. It just matters that you have passion for being there at your kit and doing that. And then you're probably going to get better and better because you're always having fun doing it.
That's really good advice. I love the fact that that mindset, I think, is the right mindset in terms of knowing that, at the bottom line, you should be having fun. And if you're not having any kind of fun with this, almost like with anything in life, really, I mean, it's kind of like, then why are you doing it? And there's other things that come along, like you said, you do need to work hard, you do need to practice, but if you're not enjoying it on some level, then yeah, you might as well switch into the guitar or switch into something, period, become a photographer or something, I don't know.
Yeah, do something that you enjoy, otherwise you're going to just be frustrated at the thing that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and I know that you have quite a few endorsements for your drum work, and so did the companies approach you? Were there any particular companies that you approached that you wanted to get involved with?
When I wanted to have some kind of sponsorship, it was cymbals first, because you break more cymbals, and cymbals are extremely expensive in Brazil. It's like a minimum wage. It's like all the salary that someone gets in the month goes to a cymbal, which is, it's crazy. People have to eat and do stuff, and there's just no money to put all in cymbals. So I started by asking for smaller brands because I thought, well, I'm not gonna ask for the big ones. Let's try by the small ones, and maybe I will get something. I always had a dream to be pasty because of Joey Jordison from Slipknot. It was like the first extreme drummer that I saw, and yeah, really just always really excited to be pasty someday, but never thought it could ever happen. Like they're so big. And yeah, then I sent many emails with a PDF of myself telling them like, well, I'm this age, I play drums for this long, and I've recorded this and this, I play Nervosa, I've done this in that festival. And none of the brands wanted me and or answered me. And then I was just like, oh, you know what? The no is for free, and I'm gonna ask pasty because if they say yes, it's a plus, you know. But I already know that everyone else is saying no, so just gonna send for the big one and whatever, really. And then I sent the same thing, but a longer text to pasty, like explaining that I would really like to work with them and blah blah, and said all that I wanted to say, and it was just like, oh, whatever. And they answered and were like, welcome to the pasty family, and sent the contract with everything. And I was just like, dude, this is insane. All these small brands were just like, no. And I thought that, you know, I'm never gonna go to any sponsor, not even the smaller brands want me. And then pasty did. It's fucking crazy. And with the drumsticks, Vincent from Sweden, it was kind of the same thing. I never tried to get other sponsorship for drumsticks, but I also didn't have a favorite brand. I was always changing because they were breaking a lot and stuff like that. It was very expensive to be always breaking sticks and buying loads for the tours. And then I decided I found Vincent in a store. I liked it really much because they last longer. And decided to send an email straight to Vincent to ask if they had any interest. Because if they didn't, I would ask someone else because I was going really bad with the sticks and the money involved. But yeah, but they wanted me, so it was awesome. I got the brand that I wanted for sticks. And then I have Williams, that it's a Brazilian band for drum heads. They got to know me from live that I did with Achilles Priester from Brazil, and they got my name in there and asked me for sponsor, and I wanted it. Very cool. I like them a lot. And then I also have Kick Block, that it's a new thing. It's you put in front of the kick base. It's really light, and it kind of attaches to your carpet really hard. And it doesn't matter if you hit super hard, the kick base is not going further. Oh. So that was really cool. They have for pedals too, which is a problem of mine. My left pedal is always sliding in the gigs. So yeah, I have these sponsors.
That's awesome, and I love your transparency and honesty that you're going for. Like you said, with Pasty's name, that you're thinking, well, that's the biggest one or one of the biggest ones, so I'm going to try one of the ones below it. And then lo and behold, the big one said yes to you. But also that, yeah, it's extremely expensive for musicians for anything that they have. And if they're going on the road, you have a box of sticks that you paid for or something like that. And then fans are wondering, how come you don't give them away or throw them out to the crowd? It's like, well, maybe I have one that's busted all throughout to the crowd, but I have to keep these for the rest of the tour.
Yeah.
And then when sponsorships start coming, then it becomes a little bit easier to maybe throw something out to a fan or whatever. That also says something too that about your drum skills, because they won't just sponsor anybody. I mean, there's too many people out there that they could sponsor, so they have to make a real deciding factor about you're basically worthy of wanting us to have do a partnership with you. So that kind of make you feel good as a drummer.
Sure, it's also like an exchange, I show their brand as much as I can because I like it too. I would never get a sponsor from a brand that I don't like. Even the small brands that I ask for a sponsor, of course, the main idea is just because, well, being a drummer is extremely expensive and I live in South America. But I just asked for the brands that I liked and had used before. And of course, Pasty was the last one, the main goal in life, just like Vincent. But yeah, it's an exchange, and in exchange for trying my best to be always like playing live and bringing my stuff and tagging and stuff, they give me something much bigger than I'm giving them. That is just like the sponsor and the equipment, the gear that I need to go further with my stuff. I have gear enough to tour the world and to record my videos and record in studio, and everything is new and good and sounding nice as it should. So it's really, it's awesome. It's more than I could be thankful for, really.
Yeah, that's wonderful that you have that, and well deserved too. Again, you're a really fantastic drummer, so it's a great partnership with the companies you have, and it kind of is a good segue that I noticed that with when the album comes out in June, that there's a cassette version available. Is that something that Napalm decided to do, or did the band have any input into the formats?
We asked for the tape. I mainly wanted the tape because I have I started my tape collection. I always had vinyls and CDs, but not many tapes. But then vinyls now got so much more expensive because our currency got down here in Brazil. So vinyls are not being an option to my collection anymore. And then I keep collecting CDs, but CDs are not as fun as vinyls. And then I was just like, wait a minute, there's still tapes. Tapes are cheaper, and I can get much more than CDs and vinyls. Then I bought one of those 80s cassette tape bags, that you just carry to your car and stuff, and started to collect tapes. And when we had the opportunity of releasing our debut album, I was just like, we gotta make tapes, dude. I gotta have a tape for my tape bag. And then yeah, there they are.
That's awesome, because I'm thinking I know Todd Latore of Queensryche, he put out a tape of his solo album on purpose because he wanted a cassette version, because that's what he grew up with, and you just explained really well about that you started collecting tapes yourself. So you're like, for my band, when that debut comes out, I want to see a cassette if we can get it. And there it is on Napalm's website. You can pre-order it right now. I saw it. And I'm also curious too that you've had played so many shows all over the world. What kind of tour memories stick out for you? Like something that was an amazing gig, or something funny that happened, or something even gross that happened? There must be something that kind of comes to mind.
Oh, there's so many stories, so many. Mainly funny ones, because well, there's awful ones too. Things that we suffered a lot to do because we were lost in tour, or we didn't know how to do something, or our things got lost in the airport, and we got late and missed the flight. And there's always this kind of stories, but there's many funny ones. One funny one is that I always think that I'm in Mexico and I'm really tired and kind of lost in where I am. For example, we were touring Europe, and we were going to a festival. And when we arrived there, I was just so extremely tired, barely slept and stuff. And I never checked the schedule to see what country we are going to. I kind of just go because I know that I will be there anyways. The driver knows it, so I kind of don't keep track on that. And we got there and was just like, where are we? And then I kept thinking on it, and it just got to my mind that I was in Mexico. I don't know why. I think I'm in Mexico. And then for the rest of the day, I thought that I was in Mexico. Somehow I realized that people are looking different here than I remember people in Mexico, but whatever. And then I kind of realized that I couldn't read any of the Spanish that was written. I was just like, oh, the Spanish is looking trickier than usual. There's something going on. I'm usually able to understand what's written in Spanish because it's really similar to Portuguese and stuff. And then later on, I realized that I was in Czech Republic. Very different, very far. Nothing similar. But yeah, this happened twice. This happened in Brazil too. I thought I was in Mexico after I woke up really tired. When your brain just didn't load properly because you barely slept. And then I just believe in the first thing that comes in mind. And for some reason, it always comes in mind Mexico. And I keep with that till something happens, and I'm like, oh, I have been here for the entire time. Jesus.
Well, I'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah, anytime that you're so sleep deprived that in your case, your brain just automatically defaults to Mexico for some reason.
I like Mexico a lot, so I guess it's my brain is choosing a comfortable place for me to be when I'm tired.
Yeah, no, that's a good. That actually there might be some truth to that for sure. That yeah, if you like to go to Mexico, that's the place where your brain said, yeah, just to let you know that's where you're at because you're so freaking tired. You're beyond tired at that point.
Yeah. Just wait for your tortillas and stuff, and everything's gonna be fine.
Well, Luana, to kind of wrap this up, one thing that I've noticed, I think a lot of people that are around the world, that when they look at Brazil as a whole, when bands play there, it doesn't matter what level band or what style of music they play, the crowds are insane down there. I mean, from club shows to the big ass, Rock and Rio festivals and all that kind of thing. Why do you think that is? Why are the fans so freaking crazy down in Brazil for music?
I see what I see in Brazil is that we don't have as many bands coming here or as many festival options as the US or Europe have. I see many like specific death metal festivals going on in Europe and in the US, or just black metal bands playing tonight, and bands from all over the world going like off into these places, and it's kind of trickier to play in Brazil because of the budget too. Like we can't pretend that it's the same, like it's harder to make it happen here. Promoters have less money to bring international bands that require more structure than the ones that we have here and stuff. So yeah, we don't have as many options. So when something happens in Brazil, which usually happens in the capital, everyone, like in São Paulo, everyone tries its best to save the money and get the opportunity to go. It's not always that happens. Something that happens a lot here is that in Brazil we realize that we sell usually less merch than in Europe or the US, for example, because usually the people that go to the gig, they already made the effort and they saved enough money to be there, to the travel and to the food and to the tickets, so they don't have like that extra money to even spend on the merch, But it's really beautiful to see that even with the struggle that we have in the country and stuff, that people make their best and save to really support the bands. So I think that's also why people get so hyped up and crazy while watching a gig, that everyone's screaming and moshing and jumping. It's an opportunity to go to a gig. It's not like we can go every week or every month, so it's a special situation that everyone gets together and stuff.
That makes perfect sense, and I'm so glad that you had a chance to explain that to me, because it becomes that much more, I think, well, like here in Seattle, well, not during the pandemic, of course, but once we get shows back, it becomes almost like we take it for granted. We can go see a show almost every night at some club or some arena or some theater around here, but down there, it really becomes an event. So you do everything you can to save your money and travel. And like you said, for food, and maybe not have money for merch, but it's like this huge thing that becomes a focus. Whereas here, like I could see all kinds of shows. Oh yeah, no big deal. But once it's been taken away from you, like it has this last year, I think when shows come back around the world, you're going to see some really intense concerts, because everyone's going to be so ready to get that energy out.
Yeah, I can't wait to play after the pandemic. It's gonna be the best thing ever.
I totally agree. Well, Luana, thank you so much for taking the time today. I really love talking to you about Crypta, and again, the album's coming out next month, and that's actually like a few days before my birthday, so I guess that's an early birthday present to me when it comes out on June 11th.
Cool.
Yeah, and hopefully it's going to be a really successful record for you and the band, and maybe we'll get a chance with some more. I think another video is coming out pretty soon, is what I saw a tease on social media. So when is that dropping?
I think I can't tell exactly when it's gonna be dropped, but I can say that it's really, really soon. And yes, there is a single coming really, really soon.
Okay, all right. Well, hopefully once the album's officially released, maybe we'll get a chance to actually reconnect again and kind of talk about the albums once the fans actually have it in their hands, and we can kind of actually dive into the songs more and that type of thing. So, but until then, stay safe down there and take good care.
Yeah, take care, you too, and thanks again for inviting me.
Thank you for taking the time. Have a good night.
Good night.